Oh wow, that turned out almost flawless. Today we're working on supervillain team up number 10. I picked this up for $5 at San Diego Comic Con in a bargain bin, and the cover just blew me away. We've got Redskull, Doctor Doom fighting Captain America. I didn't even realize that this was a book that Marvel put out. I've heard of all the superhero team ups. I did not realize they did supervillain team ups. But no, again, this was a book that I just thought was gorgeous, but it's got some issues. I'm hoping we can kind of bring some of this back to life a little bit. So just looking over the book kind of before we get started, we'll look here on the cover. The edge, it's a little bit worn. We've got some color loss here up by the staples. Got some just some wear kind of across all of the edges. You've got some blunted corners. Again, difficult to see, but there's some very kind of strange creasing and wear lines across the cover. There's one that runs the entire horizontal width here by Captain America. Again, hard to see it unless you're really up close. None of those appear to be color breaking. I think we're going to be able to get those out. You do have quite a few spine ticks down the spine. Almost all of those are color breaking, so that's going to be really difficult. So the spine is a little fragile. Again, we're starting to get a lot of fray here at this corner, so we're going to have to be very, very delicate. But overall, the cover is intact. We've got some soiling here, so we're just going to have to be careful. Inside cover looks fine. We have a little bit of spine roll, so we're rolling onto the lower back right. The back cover, pretty soiled. These white covers love to pick up dirt and debris. We're starting to get some tearing here in the top of the back cover. Be very careful with that when we do some cleaning. We're also getting a bit of a dog here at the top left. Again, it's white, so we're not going to get color breaking, but it's weakening the paper. Inside, everything appears to be complete. Staples are intact and rust-free. So with a book of this age, you can't really ask for a whole lot more. So we're gloved up. Let's get back into it and see what we can do to bring this guy back to life. All right, so first thing that we want to do, we're going to work on the book in stages, but we're going to find the center staples, and this is just an extra large. It's a little differently than a magazine backer, but I'm going to line those up with the staples on the edge. So again, we don't want the staples to push through when we're working on the book. It also helps us start working on that spine roll, and we're going to come back to that guy here shortly. But just going to start with makeup pad, putting slight pressure with my hand on the spine, and I'm always working against the spine and towards the edge of the book. Sections. So as I had an opportunity to work a little bit closer with the book, found a few more defects and issues. There is a tear here at the top staple, just on the bottom. It looks like it's probably been stored without a bag and board, and I bought it without a bag and a board, and that explains that. We're gonna have to be very, very careful with that, because any pressure coming down is gonna rip that and make that even worse. There was a little bit of soiling kind of through here. Altogether, everything came up pretty simple. There was no color loss. Now, we do want to see if we can do some work here on the barcode. See if we can clean that up a little bit. So I'm going to turn the book just to keep this in frame for everybody. So a couple of different tools I'm going to use for this. I've got a piece of Absorine sponge. We've used this before. And then I just have a high polymer white eraser. I'm going to kind of get into the white portions of the barcode and see if we can't remove some of this dirt. Again, super important when we're doing this that we are using incredibly light pressure. We are only moving with pressure away from the spine. We're not trying to push the book towards the spine. I don't know that we see a tremendous difference there, but we see a little bit. So my hope for this is that we can press this book without moisture. When we went through the interior pages, they're a little creamy, but they're not bad. They're not brittle. So I think maybe one of the bigger challenges is looking at the rear cover. This doesn't look great. Again, it's a white cover. There's just a lot of dirt that's picked up over the years. So again, when you look kind of along the spine, just areas here, there's no like raised boogers or dirt. This is just soiling, probably from being against another book for many, many, many years without a bag and a board. So again, if we just kind of look at, if we just run our white eraser here, and I will try to get a better view of this for you guys, just right here, we can immediately see that come up. And again, that's actually making a lot of very positive progress in a short window of time. But I did recently pick up a new tool. So this is a non-abrasive document cleaning pad. I haven't used this before. It is intended for restoring documents. So there's a powder inside of this, almost like a rosin bag for the baseball players out there. You're supposed to squeeze some of the powder onto the book and twist it. So this is actually putting almost like a baby powder, a talcum powder onto the book. This is, then I just rub the pad on the book. It's supposed to help pick up surface dirt. It absorbs this powder as we go. Again, same principles. I'm getting pressure. I'm actually going to turn the book so I can get pressure with my hand, my left hand. I'm right-handed, against the spine. Just kind of working in small areas here. So this material, this powder, is starting to clump. According to the information on the box, that occurs because the powder is adhering to the soil on the surface of the document. So they don't reference comic books specifically. They talk about restoring historic documents and old books, which is essentially what this is. So this is really interesting. I got just a tremendous amount of like this powder that's come off. I didn't have a great plan for how to get this off of the workstation and off of the book. We still have our Absorine sponge, but it does fall right off the book. And again, just visually looking at this does look tremendously better. So this might be really a great tool, especially in the colored areas like these yellows or here in the red. We can clean up soil because we can't use the eraser in a colored area. That'll take the color and the ink right off of the book. But this is, with that powder, there's not any color transfer. The dirt appears to be just kind of being absorbed by this powder. I'm gonna have to look more into this, but I'm pretty impressed so far. Again, we do have a lot of this just like it, it's very similar to like eraser shavings. So when it initially went onto the book, it was a little more fine, and it's getting more coarse, presumably as it bonds with dirt. So let's take this off the workstation for just a minute, clean off our workstation, and come back. Okay, we are back. I don't know if this was a success or not. That was a tremendous mess. But the book looks visually and significantly cleaner after using that. I ended up having to go and not just wipe everything down, but clean the entire surface. The book was actually easier to get things off of than all of the other surfaces. I ended up having to change my gloves because it was, attaching to the latex. So I'm not sure if I used this correctly. I'm going to do a little bit more research into this, but I think it actually did a good job of actually cleaning the book, which is what we're ultimately looking for. All right, we've cleaned the book and we are ready to start building our stack for the press. Start with our steel plate. I'm going to lay down a magazine backer board. I always like to put the shiny side towards the book. I'm going to get a piece of silicone release paper. Again, I always put the shiny side towards the book. I'm going to go with the rear of the book, our friend Evel Knievel. I've put a piece of copy paper on the inside cover. And then again, we still have our center backing, our magazine backing board. Again, not underneath the staples, up alongside of them, because we want to make sure that when this book is pressed, it does not push through any of this paper. Another piece of, this is 20-pound just copy paper. I'm going to put here on the inside cover. We're starting to see some pressure from that staple against the paper already. We want to avoid that. So I'm going to manually try to pull or massage that spine roll back to where it was intended to be. You see these spine ticks really start to come out when I do that. Again, because they developed essentially because the spine was in the wrong place for so many years. Probably, again, stacked up against other books. We're going silicone release paper, shiny side down. Trying to, again, just hold that position. Coming back in with our magazine backer. And then we're going to finish that with a steel plate. The trick here is not to slide it, but just drop it into place to complete our little happy comic book sandwich. So I think we are good. We're going to put this in the press for, we're going to do 12 minutes at 163 degrees. So this is a Bronze Age book. Paper can take a little bit more, and then we're going to leave it in the press 12 hours cold. So put it in, cook it a little bit, see how it comes out in the morning.
A few moments later.
All right, let's see the results of our press. Oh wow, that turned out almost flawless. That is a beautiful comic book. But all of those indentations, all of those just kind of creases are gone. Can't do anything about the spine ticks, but we have fixed the spine roll. So she is back square, and just look at the improvement on that back cover. I'm not sure I could be happier with how that turned out. Absolute beautiful book.